What happened to holding up the scarf? It's all gone now. Right, let's talk England. Angel Gomes faced the media today after being called up to the senior squad for the first time. Our senior reporter Rob Dorset is at St George's Park for us and joins us now. Rob, good to see you. Just tell us how Angel Gomes reacted to this call-up.
Well, Mike, it's always one of the nicest bits that we ever get to do in this job covering England, when you speak to some of the younger players and they're called up for the first time and they tell you their story and just what it means to them. And it was a really special moment today for Angel Gomes. But I think even more special because we interviewed him and Morgan Gibbs-White today. You'll see Gibbs-White interview tomorrow morning on Sky Sports News. But these two guys are very, very close. They've grown up together through the England youth ranks. They won the Under-17s World Cup together in 2017. They won the Under-21s Euros together last summer under current interim boss Lee Carsley, by the way. And so Angel Gomes told us the story today about how they both found out and how even before either of them had spoken to their families, they wanted to speak to each other and see how they were getting on. I'll let Angel Gomes take up the story.
I got a message off Lee and he asked me to call him and I was like, oh.
Lee asked you to call Morgan?
Asked me to call. The manager asked me to call him. Right. So I rang him and, he let me know that I was in the squad, and you can obviously imagine my reaction. And the first thing I was thinking is, I wonder if Morgan's been called, because obviously we're very close. And I didn't want to ring him because I didn't know whether he'd found out or not, and he didn't want to ring me after. So there was a bit of tension, and then my dad was like, just ring him. So I rang him. And when he answered, we just both looked at each other and started smiling. Before anyone said anything, I was like, no. And he was like, yeah. And then we just started jumping up and down in the room, and yeah, you could obviously, we was just buzzing.
Well, watching won't know too much about Angel Gomes. How's it got to this point?
Well, it's an extraordinary story, Mike, and you're right, he's playing in Ligue 1 at the moment, so perhaps we haven't seen as much of him as a lot of the other players in this England squad. But a lot of fans will remember how he broke through onto the scene at Manchester United 7 years ago and was hailed as this wonder kid there. That was back in May 2017 when he became the youngest player to feature in a Manchester United starting 11 in almost 50 years. It went back to 1953. The last time there was anybody younger who played for Manchester United. He also, at that point, became the first player ever born in the 2000s to feature in a Premier League game. So he had all these headlines around him, but it didn't quite work out at Manchester United. So he went to Ligue 1, joined Lille, but even then he was shipped out on loan to Boa Vista in Portugal. And so it was a tough time for him. It's been a difficult journey to get back to the top. And I asked him whether being in this senior England squad now makes all of that worthwhile.
When I left, it was more for the idea to better myself as a player and obviously as a person going through the journey that I went through. I knew that eventually I'd be able to create a pathway for myself to be able to be in this position that I'm in now. And yeah, it was difficult, obviously leaving the club that I was at from 6 and heading into the unknown really for me personally. And yeah, from then it's been an uphill trajectory, but also with a lot of difficulties and difficult moments going through. But being in this position now makes everything all worth it.
Well, Rob, it's clearly mentally tough to go and play his football in another country at such a young age. But what type of player is he?
Well, again, you're right, because he's been playing a lot of his football in Ligue 1 and in Portugal. We haven't seen an awful lot of him, I think most England fans would admit. But let me tell you what Lee Carsley describes him as. He says, technically and tactically, he is excellent, and he's a player people are going to be really excited to see. Carsley calls him unique, by the way. He's diminutive. He's only 5'4", I think, but he's a brilliant technician. And in France, he's been used by Paulo Fonseca before he moved to AC Milan in this kind of, I'd describe it as a quarterback role. It's a very creative role, but it's behind two other central midfield players. So it's almost like a number 10 role, but behind the other two midfielders. And it's really versatile, and he's making Lille tick. He starts their attacks. They look to him for all of their creativity, which speaks volumes of how he's gone a storm and made a storm in France, you have to say. But I thought the best way to deal with this was to ask Gomes himself. Here's what Gomes himself thinks about what sort of player he is and what his best position is.
It wasn't something that I've not done before, or a position that I've not played. I've played in that position before, but obviously to play at the highest level in that position, it takes, a good coach, good ideas for you to be able to show and prove yourself. And I think from when he came in, you could see how the team played and how it complemented me well. So I think from there, it really helped me. I can operate in all three roles. I can play as the deep line midfielder, I can play as a number 8, I can play as a number 10. I just love to play in the midfield and be able to distribute and help the team play in all different areas of the pitch. I'd say I'm confident. I like being on the ball and like taking responsibility. So that's more or less my game.
Really impressive performance from Angel Gomes today, speaking as a senior England player for the first time. One other thing I wanted to mention that he told us, Mike, which I think is interesting, because, of course, remember, Lee Carsley is the interim England manager. We get the impression pretty clear that he would like the job full-time, and this is almost his audition, I think, during these autumn games in the Nations League. Gomes told us that Carsley has spoken to the squad about how England teams have come very close to winning a trophy recently, but his goal, his target for the players going forward is to go that extra step and win a major tournament. That sounds to me like Lee Carsley has plans for this job going forward, and he wants to put his stamp on it. How his young squad performs over these next couple of games. Remember, it's Republic of Ireland away in Dublin on Saturday, then Finland at home at Wembley next Tuesday. How those youngsters do, and the likes of Angel Gomes in particular, that could have a big impact on whether he gets the job in the long term.
Won't it just? Rob Dorset, senior reporter, live from St George's Park. Thanks, Rob.